Today's topic is the pistil, megasporangium, embryo sac. The pistil, which is also called carpel, megasporangium is nothing but ovule, embryo sac is nothing but female gametophyte. All these structures are associated with female reproductive part called gynoecium. What is gynoecium? Gynoecium is the female reproductive organ of a flower. In a gynoecium, what are the terms we are going to study? We are going to study the terms the pistil, which is also called carpel, megasporangium or ovule, embryo sac or female gametophyte. Let us see the detailed description and structures of all these. In a flower, the female reproductive part is called gynoecium. A gynoecium is made up of a single pistil or carpel which is called monocarpellary. Monocarpellary gynoecium. If in a flower is having gynoecium and that gynoecium is made up of a single pistil or carpel, such a gynoecium is called monocarpellary gynoecium. If in a gynoecium is made up of more than one or many carpels or pistil, such a gynoecium is called multicarpellary gynoecium. So, what is gynoecium? Gynoecium is the female reproductive part of the flower. Then, in a gynoecium, our gynoecium is represented in the form of a pistil or carpel. So, for example, in a flower, there is a gynoecium. In that gynoecium, it is represented by a single carpel or a single pistil. Such condition is called monocarpellary. Or in some flowers, there may be more than one pistil or more than one carpel. Such condition is called multicarpellary gynoecium. Let us see this. If in a flower, multicarpellary gynoecium, more than one carpel or many carpels are found fused together, if all the carpels of a multicarpellary gynoecium are fused together and looks like one carpel. If all the carpels of a multicarpellary gynoecium are fused together and appears or looks like one carpel, such condition is called syncarpous condition. Syncarpous gynoecium. So again, gynoecium is the female reproductive part. It may be having a single carpel or many carpels. If single carpel, monocarpellary, if many carpels, multicarpellary. In the condition when many carpels are there, if all the carpels of that gynoecium are fused together and appears like one carpel, such condition or such gynoecium is called syncarpous gynoecium. If all the carpels are free from each other, it means they are not fused together. If all the carpels of a multicarpellary gynoecium are free from each other, it means not fused. Such condition, such gynoecium is called apocarpous gynoecium. What is syncarpous and what is apocarpous? Syncarpous and apocarpous are the terms associated with the nature of the gynoecium, or fusion or not fusion of the carpels of a gynoecium of a single flower. In a single flower, there is a gynoecium. This gynoecium is represented by a carpel or a pistil. This carpel or pistil, as we have studied in the earlier classes, it is like this. It consists of three parts: basal, bulged or swollen part, basal bulged part called ovary, and a thin elongated tube-like part called style. At the end, a flattened globus, semi-globus, flattened or disc-shaped structure called stigma. So, in a carpel or pistil, there are three parts: ovary, style and stigma. What are these? Ovary is the basal part, bulged. In this bulged part, the place is there. This place is called ovarian cavity. Ovarian cavity. This ovarian cavity is also called locule. So inside the ovary there is a space, there is a place. This place is called ovarian cavity or locule. So what is present in this locule? In this locule there are some cushion-like structures. Cushion, cushion-like structures. These cushion-like structures are called placenta. We have studied in the earlier class various types of placenta and placentations: marginal, parietal, axial, precentral, superficial, basal. So, in the locule or ovarian cavity, placenta is present anywhere, maybe in the margins, in the basal part, or in the superficial part, parietal part, central part. So, this is the place. To this place, attached is our megasporangium or ovule. So ovule is present inside the ovarian cavity or in the locule at a place called placenta. This ovule is in general called megasporangium. Like that we have studied in the anther, microsporangium. In an anther, Dithecus anther, 4 microsporangia are there. Like that here, ovule is considered as megasporangium. Now come to the next part, style. Style is an elongated tube-like structure. This is having halo or some solid tissues. It is responsible for the movement of pollen tube. When pollen grain falls and germinates and it develops a pollen tube, that pollen tube will move through the style. So style is the structure which attaches the ovary with the stigma. Now question comes, what is stigma? Stigma is the platform for the landing of pollen grain. For the landing of pollen grain, landing platform for the pollen to land here. So as to germinate, after that it will send pollen tube. After this, pollen tube will carry the male gametes. Finally, fertilization or reproduction will carried out. So a carpel or a pistil is nothing but gynoecium. In a flower, maybe a single carpel or pistil, monocarpellary, or in a flower, many carpels or many pistils, all are joined together to form a syncarpous condition. Or if they were not fused individually, carpels are present, apocarpous condition. To understand this syncarpous and apocarpous, let us see some illustrations. This carpel or pistil is like this, a paper folded here. See here how this paper is folded. in the half. Now, this is considered as a carpel or pistil. Here, this part, suppose, just imagine this part is ovary, this part is style, the upper part is stigma. Ovary, style, stigma. So this is a carpel, a single carpel with a single ovary, single style, single stigma. How it is formed? This is formed by joining two margins of this paper. When we are going to join these two margins like this, a carpel is formed. So this carpel is formed by a process of like this. When two margins, if we want to cut this from here and if you open, it will be looking like this. If we join, like this. What is the need of studying this? To understand this carpel or gynoecium, ovary, style and stigma, one day after the reproduction, this ovary becomes fruit. Inside this ovule, which is called megasporangium, it will become seed. And one day, if the fruits are going to broke down or dehisce to liberate the seeds, to understand how they are going to dehisce, how they are going to liberate seeds, this is compulsory. So this is a carpel. A carpel is formed by ovary, style and stigma. And when we see that these two margins are joined together, so the place of joining of these two margins is called ventral suture. Ventral suture. What is ventral suture? Every fruit, when this becomes fruit and when it is going to liberate seeds by dehiscence, it has to break. Where it will break? It may break at ventral suture to liberate the seeds. So, ventral suture is the name or the term given to the place where the two margins of the carpel are joined. This is ventral suture. Now, what is dorsal? Opposite to the ventral is dorsal suture. This is ventral suture. So, in some plants, when fruits are formed, these fruits, if they are able to dehisce and liberate their seeds, they may break at ventral suture to liberate the seeds, or they may break at dorsal suture to liberate the seeds. What are ventral sutures and what is dorsal suture? And what is the significance of these? What is the use of study of these? It is to understand a fruit is going to break to liberate the seeds, whether it is breaking towards the ventral suture or towards the dorsal suture. So this is a carpel or a pistil or a gynoecium of a particular flower. Now let us see. Sir, in this gynoecium, the place is called ovarian cavity. We have seen ovarian cavity or locule. This is called ovarian cavity. This is the ovarian cavity. This ovarian cavity, the place is called ovarian cavity or locule or ovarian chamber. Now, sir, this is a monocarpellary gynoecium. It means it has a single ovary, style and stigma. For example, if you want to study syncarpous gynoecium, it means more than one carpel, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or many. How they were formed? Let us see this. Another carpel joined together, bicarpellary. another carpel joined together. How many carpels are here? 3 carpels are here. 1, 2, 3. Each and every carpel is having its own ovary style and stigma. Ovary style and stigma. Ovary style and stigma. But all these 3 are united in such a way and appears like a single carpel. All these, so this is the syncarpous condition. In a gynoecium, maybe there is one carpel, monocarpellary, or in a gynoecium, there may be many carpels, and all these carpels are associated together in such a way to form and appears like a single carpel. And this condition is called syncarpous. Sir, if a condition comes like this, to understand whether it is a monocarpellary or bicarpellary, tricarpellary, how to cut transverse section. If we cut the transverse section, we are able to see 1, 2, 3. So, in between every locule, there are walls. These walls are called septa. So, we can understand maybe one carpel or 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 carpels are present, but all are looking like a single syncarpous. Maybe 5 carpels are present, all are looking like a single pentacarpellary, multicarpellary, tricarpellary, bicarpellary. So, syncarpous condition is even though many carpels are there, but they appear like a single. Now, apocarpous condition. In apocarpous condition, each and every carpel is separate, free from each other. Each and every carpel, they were not fused together, they are not syncarpous, they were not looks like a single carpel, but each and every carpel is freely seen, which can be studied like this. If this is the thalamus, carpel, 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 another carpel, another carpel. So many carpels, multicarpellary apocarpous gynoecium. Apocarpous means they were not fused, they were individually. Ovary, style, stigma, ovary, style, stigma, ovary, style, stigma, ovary, style, stigma. So, this condition is called apocarpous, free. This condition is called syncarpous, fused. Let us see what is megasporangium or ovule. So, we have studied what is pistil or what is carpel and what are the various terms associated with. To understand what is pistil or carpel, what is ventral suture, dorsal suture, syncarpous, apocarpous. Now, in the ovarian cavity or in the locule or within the chamber of the ovary, the structure found attached to a particular place called placenta is ovule. In angiosperms, ovules are called integumented megasporangium. Ovule or integumented megasporangium. We can call ovule or integumented megasporangium. What is this ovule? To understand ovule, you have to study detailed structures of megasporangium or ovule. In general, to understand ovule, let us see a comprehensive study. This is ovule, and ovule is made up of two parts. Body of the ovule, from here to here, stalk of the ovule. Body of the ovule, stalk of the ovule. Stalk is generally considered as funicle or funiculus, stack of the ovule. Stack or funicle is attached to the body of the ovule at a place imaginary. In the diagram you can see. Stack is attached to the body at a place. This place is called hilum. What is hilum? Hilum is the region in the ovule. Hilum is the region in the ovule where stalk of the ovule is attached to the body of the ovule. Like our head attached to our thorax body, neck is there, no, like that. Hilum is the region, imaginary region, where the stalk of the ovule is attached to the body of the ovule. Now, what is this body of the ovule made up of? Body of the ovule is made up of central region with nucellus tissue. Or megasporogenous tissue, like we studied in microsporangia of anther, sporogenous tissue. Here, sporogenous tissue, this sporogenous tissue is having a specified name, nucellus. So, in the body of the ovule, in the center part, nucellus tissue, so many cells. Nucellus tissue is present. Now this nucellus tissue is covered by, so in the body, in the middle part, nucellus tissue is there. This nucellus tissue is covered by some finger-shaped structures called integuments. Outer integument, inner integument. So, integuments are the protective layers that surround the body of the ovule. Integuments are the protective layers that surrounds the body of the, so actually what they were surrounding, they were covering the nucellus tissue. Then question comes whether these integuments are completely surrounding the body or not. No, the integuments are not completely surrounding the body, but they were leaving a place at the tip. This opening or place or pore is called micropyle region. Micropyle. The pore or the region or the opening at one end is called micropyle. Now, again we are going to body of the ovule. Body of the ovule is having polarity. What is that polarity? Here, it has a base and it has an apex. So, the base is called chalazal end or chalazal region, base. So, base of the body of the ovule is represented by chalazal end. base, and the apex is represented by micropylar, and that's why the body is made up of two integuments and covering the nucellus, basal, apical. That's why ovule is called integumented megasporangium, because it will produce megaspores. Ovule is called integumented megasporangium. Now, the same concept, most of the angiospermic plants, the commonly available is, see this. This is an ovule with a structure like this. Outer integument, inner integument. Outer, inner, opening, micropyle, base, and funicle. And here, according to the studies, when funicle, chalaza, and micropyle, these three are in straight line, in the same radius. When funicle, chalaza, micropyle are in same radius in a straight line, such ovule is called straight ovule. Based upon their radius, same radius, funicle, chalaza, and micropyle. But in most of the cases, this body of the ovule, stalk is here, body of the ovule, it will turn to one side completely. When it bend or turn to one side completely, like this, it will bend. So the bending is 180 degrees curvature. So this is 90 degrees. A 90 degrees ovule, which is a straight ovule, it bends or shows curvature to one side. Such a ovule is called inverted ovule, and most of the angiospermic plants are having inverted ovule. This is called straight ovule or orthotropous ovule. Inverted ovule. What is inverted ovule, sir? The body of the ovule is turned to this side or this side, at 180 degrees angle curvature. Let us see the diagram, which is also called anatropous ovule, where funicle is here and the body is having a curvature of funicle is this side, straight on one radius, chalaza and micropyle on another radius. This type of ovule is called inverted ovule or anatropous ovule. It means funicle, chalaza and micropyle are not in a straight line like this. They are in different radius. Funicle on one radius and chalaza and micropyle another radius. So it is called anatropous. Most of the angiospermic families, plants are having anatropous ovule. To understand clearly according to the textbook, we have to study In the page number 24, 25th, they have given the diagram of anatropous ovule, but we are not going to see the structure like this or like this. These structures are to understand what the structure of ovule is. Now I am going to show this mirror image. If we keep one mirror here, this diagram will fall ulta, reverse. Let us see this. Now we have to study anatropous ovule in this way. Why? Because basal means basal part, apical means upper part. If we study this diagram, chalaza is here, it is upper part, we should not call it as basal. And micropyle is here. That's why if we take a mirror image, we can easily understand this is called basal part, that is chalaza. Chalazal end. This is micropylar end. These are integuments. These are the tissue which is called nucellus, funicle. Here it is somehow difficult to trace out what is the joining of stalk with the body, which is called. In this diagram we are able to trace what hilum is. An imaginary lane which should be between stalk and chalaza. Chalaza is the base, stalk. Here hilum. Here its body is joined because of curvature. Because of curvature, totally body is turned to one side. Here the clear-cut distinction of hilum is not seen. So simply we can call this as hilum. That's why in the textbook they have not mentioned this hilum. In the diagram, page number 25th. Funicle, hilum, nucellus, chalaza, integuments outer and inner, the pore called micropyle. This is a 5-mark question in the PUC examination at the end of PUC. So what is a ovule? An ovule is nothing but integumented megasporangium. Now, generally, draw the structure of a ovule, anatropous ovule. Or what is a straight ovule? What is a inverted ovule? What is the degree of curvature? 90 degrees, 180 degrees, like that. So many other types of ovules are there. Now, megasporangium or ovule. So gynoecium means reproductive part. It is represented by a single pistil or a single carpel or many pistils or many carpels. They may be fused or free. Find out CET memory based example oriented questions. In which of the following plants syncarpous condition is seen according to the book? They have given 2 diagrams, diagram oriented questions. In hibiscus, in Michaelia, in these 2 plants, syncarpous, in hibiscus and papaver, not Michaelia, papaver, syncarpous gynoecium. In Michaelia, Apocarpus, Nymphia, Nilambo, Lotus, all these Apocarpus condition, diagram oriented questions. Megasporogenesis. Topic is megasporogenesis. It means megaspore birth or formation of megaspores, production of megaspores, megasporogenesis, birth. A process similar to microsporogenesis. How microspores are formed in androecium and stamens in the anther we have seen like that. In the ovule, how our female gametophyte or embryo sac or megaspores are developed or formed. We are going to see the process of production of or formation of megaspores in the megasporangium is called megasporogenesis. The process of production of megaspores in the megasporangium is called megasporogenesis. How this process is going to happen? Again, we have to take the diagram of an ovule, nucellus cells are there, nucellus cells are tissues. During the megasporogenesis, one of the nucellus cell becomes differentiated. One of the nucellus cell becomes differentiated. Differentiated means changed, metamorphosized. It has become turned, transformed. So each and every cell of the nucellus is 2n in condition. 2n means diploid. Why they were diploid? They were found in the gynoecium. Gynoecium is present in the flower, and flower is the part of the plant body, and plant body is formed from the seed. Seed is diploid, so hence all the parts in the plant body are diploid unless they undergo meiosis. So initially the nucellus cells which are diploid in condition, so many cells are there. They were nutritive in function. It means they will supply food material for the megaspores which are going to develop into female gametophyte and embryo sac. Now one of the nucellus cell differentiated and becomes megaspore mother cell. So simply you can call it as MSMC or spore mother cell. Megaspore mother cell, which is also diploid in condition. This megaspore mother cell undergoes. So there are so many theories in the oldest books, subject concept oriented books. Archisporal cell will be formed. Archisporal cell will develop into outer parietal cell, inner sporogen mother cell, like that. So in general nutshell, all are not given in the book according to PUC standards. One of the nucellus cells differentiated, it may take and undergo so many changes into megaspore mother cell, which diploid. It is somehow larger in size, having cytoplasm, dense cytoplasm and nucleus. This diploid megaspore mother cell undergoes meiosis. One megaspore mother cell, one meiosis. When it undergoes meiosis, it will produce 4 megaspores. Here question comes, megaspore mother cell. Which megaspore mother cell? Neat question. The megaspore mother cell which is present towards the micropyle. So the megaspore, the nucellus cell which is present towards the microspore, it becomes enlarged, differentiated, becomes megaspore mother cell. Now it undergoes meiosis. Meiosis means reductional division. First reductional division, this nucleus divides into 2. Here it forms dyad of cells, means 2 nuclei, 2 cells. It is meiosis is not over. First one division, second division, that is finally meiosis 1, meiosis 2. It will produce tetrad. 4 meiosis, dyad and tetrad. So 1 meiosis is equal to 4 haploid cells which are called megaspores. So what are megaspores? Megaspores are the products of meiosis. Only one nucellus cell becomes megaspore mother cell, and this megaspore mother cell forms 1 meiosis and finally produces 4 haploid megaspores. 4 haploid megaspores. The process of formation of megaspores from the megaspore mother cell is called megasporogenesis. The process of formation of megaspores from the, so just imagine now, where are these megaspores for? They were present in the nucleus, here, nucellus tissue, here. Here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, in higher examination, competitive examination question, out of the 4 megaspores, for each and every one, if they want to grow, the food material supplied by the nucellus is very less. So, because of less food material which is supplied, the uppermost 3, the outer 3 disintegrate, the lowest one becomes enlarged. This is called functional megaspore. What are megaspores? And what is a functional megaspore? Megaspores are the products of meiosis from a megaspore mother cell, 2n, and all are n. But out of the 4, because of the less food material in the nucellus, upper 3 will disintegrate, the lowest one. So which is the lowest one? The megaspore which is present towards the chalaza. The upper 3 which are present towards the micropyle disintegrate, and the lower one which is present towards the chalaza becomes enlarged, and this is called functional megaspore. Kinesis. And this 8 nucleate structure we are going to call it as female. It is going to organize into female gametophyte or embryo sac. This 8 nucleate it undergoes cell wall formation. Finally, it becomes embryo sac. The structure of embryo sac. Or female gametophyte. We'll see in the coming class.